Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're playing with the Patrie, the super French battleship. You'll know I probably have a love-hate relationship with this ship. Basically, the guns are amazing when they hit. If they hit, they are going to do insane amounts of damage. Got ourselves a bow on Missouri here. These, of course, are 431mm guns. Much like Republic, we just get 12 of them, with a little bit worse dispersion thanks to the Sigma being worse. And that's, nearly 20k into a bow on Missouri. Kind of ridiculous. In fact, probably too much damage into an angled ship, if I were to say so. But that's going to be the Patrie for you. This ship is very, very powerful with these main guns. The unfortunate side, though, is that you will have trolling salvos. But this game, we are going to start off very, very hot when it comes to RNG. So Azuma at 17 kilometers broadside, without even hitting a citadel, that is another 25,000 damage. 50k in 2 salvos, plus a drop on the Balau. That did a little bit of damage to help us out. But that is very, very good damage to start. Our matchmaker here is pretty terrible. Carrier, double sub. I was not looking forward to playing this game when I jumped into it, to be honest with you. Yet, somehow we're going to have a really, really good match. We're going to be able to flank with the Patrie here. And for some reason, we don't actually get focused by the carrier all that much to start. And we will hopefully be helping take out this sub very soon. Dev Strike into the Edgar always feels very, very nice. Those British light cruisers are very nice targets to go after. So a few citadels into him, and he is going to go down. Playing very aggressively into the C-cap, not always going to work out, but risk-reward there, I suppose, when it comes to a light cruiser. Fortunately for Patrie, we do actually manage to take him out, and our range is really excellent. So that's the other thing about Patrie guns. They hit hard when the shells, line up, as well as the shell velocity being very, very good and the range being excellent as well. So it's not too difficult to lead targets. Unfortunately, you are kind of at the mercy of RNG there. As we can see, we do like 5,000 into the bomber in there. Typically, into German battleships, you're going to get a lot of damage because they have that turtleback. So no citadels, but you're almost guaranteed full pens into the broadsides of these ships. So even a few hits there. Missed most of our salvo. We still got 15k at least into that one, which feels very, very nice. But again, we are flanking in a carrier double sub match, so we are going to have to be quite careful here. I'm really worried potentially about the destroyer coming back, as well as the submarine possibly coming here for us. But I haven't seen any signs of them coming yet, so I'm okay with pushing for now. A little bit of poor dispersion into the Pommern there as he's angled. Interesting how we did like 19k to the Missouri when he was angled at further ranges into a superstructure, and then we get 5k into the Pommern superstructure. Probably more reasonable number, let's be honest. But still, that kind of shows you the difference there. If you get good RNG with this ship, it just crushes everything. The Balau does get spotted in the B-cap, so not too much to worry about. Finally, the carrier does come taking a look at us here, so we will start our turn out and try and just kite away for now. We have enough HP, and there's not enough of the enemy team here to really have me worried about going broadside to them, at least to get this turn out in here. We do want to be always kiting away and getting ourselves into better positions to be able to dodge carrier drops. Fortunately, we turned when we did, though, because the torps are on the way. We barely managed to get that turn out before those torpedoes come for us. Managing to pick up the Pommern is very nice, as well as getting a drop on the submarine there. Didn't know exactly where he was, kind of a blind drop. Just guessing he was going to come charging towards us a little bit. They tend to want to do that. And we got a flood, so that does take out the Balau as well. So that's 3 kills already into this game. 140k, pretty nice start of things overall. But now we've kind of mopped up this side, so we're actually going to have to jump over to the other side of the map where the enemy team is pushing quite aggressively. So Patrie, even with these long-range guns and good shell velocity, can impact the battle at those longer ranges, which is great when you get situations like this. However, we still want to be a little bit closer. Even though Patrie armor isn't all that impressive at 32mm, you still have enough HP to tank reasonably well. You don't want to get focused for too long periods of time, but I don't like staying at these longer ranges, let's just say. 20 kilometers, you're really at the mercy of RNG, like I've already mentioned with this ship. So if I can get closer, I definitely want to. Our speed boost is going to help out with that. But still, 17k salvo there. It feels pretty nice. I will say with this build, I am running heavy AP. Heavy AP, no fire prevention. Yeah, you guys are probably used to it by now this month, trying things out with these rather weird builds, taking things I normally wouldn't, and having them work out reasonably well, to be honest with you. Kind of opening my eyes to some different builds we could be taking. And considering Patrie is not a sustained tank, it can push, it can flank very well, and you can take some fire, but you don't want that sustained tanking job. So not taking fire prevention, it certainly can get you killed, don't get me wrong, but if you're playing the role correctly, I would say you probably aren't taking that much sustained fire. 26,000 damage there gets us up to our Confederate, very nice, into the Satsuma there. Again, not a Citadel, so unfortunately we're not getting our Citadels. The pen on these guns is actually really, really good, even though they are only, what, 431mm guns compared to a Satsuma around 510. It's pretty strong firepower here with Patrie when it comes to the pen. Again, no Citadel, but we will pick up the Minnesota there, getting us up to 4 kills. And this game is close to wrapped up at this point, but it certainly took a lot from the Patrie this game to actually bring us to this point, and we're still going to push. Satsuma is a pretty scary target at these ranges, considering the overmatch. We're probably going to take some pretty massive hits here. As you can see, yeah, 16k. That's not as much as we could have taken, certainly, but you know, there's no angling to those guns, so we do have a bit of a clock to work with here. We don't have unlimited time to take this Satsuma out. And maybe I'm being a little too greedy here. I should just shoot a superstructure and try and get some damage in that way. But I'm hoping that he's also going to get a little bit greedy. Often that can be your downfall when you're playing a Satsuma, right? When you open up to shoot your back guns, you're opening up that front cheek, that magazine that you can hit and get some Citadels into. But he played patient, and so I have to go for the superstructure instead. And we get our Kraken there, so we still managed to get some really nice damage into the superstructure. Notice how much superstructure damage we've actually done this game. It's actually quite a lot. One of the main complaints I have about German battleships all the time is the superstructure just eats so much damage, and we haven't even been really doing that much. We didn't do much to the Pommern superstructure this game, but into a Satsuma, into a Missouri, those ships have smaller superstructures yet than something like a GK. As we yoink that 6th kill, sorry, not even our 5th kill, 6 kills in this game already. Kind of a secure there, maybe a kill steal more likely. I apologize, but shells were out in the air. I thought he had more HP than he actually did, and just a Nazumo left. And overpans. So that'll be the downside of getting a little too close, maybe, is we're going to get a little more overpens, especially on cruisers at closer ranges. You're going to see a lot of overpens, just the shell velocity in the pen really, really high. So good for dealing with battleships and getting through their Citadel armor, hopefully. But if you miss and aim a little high, then suddenly you're going to get those overpens. But that's going to be the win here. No 7 kills for us. Unlucky, right? Still a good game though, right? Confederate, high cal, Kraken, and a little Dev Strike sprinkled in there. Feels very nice. I will say though, Patrie is a battleship worth getting, but keep in mind, most matches aren't going to look quite this good. This was a very nice showing from the Patrie as far as dispersion goes. Oftentimes, a little more of a shotgun. And as I've already mentioned, the build here is a little bit funny thanks to me playing around with builds this update. So, super heavy AP and furious. No fire prevention either, so potential to get burnt down very, very quickly here, but if we're playing the correct way, I guess I would say, which is much more passive than I would really like to, but the way the game kind of forces us to play these days, especially at higher tier, we don't really want to be tanking all that much. We're kind of that longer range artillery support for our teammates, and just minor tanking here and there, but we don't want that sustained tanking role. We can do it for a little bit, but not very long. And then taking improved repair party readiness. Again, talked about this a few times, but saving ourselves 1 point, allowing us to maybe go for a gun feeder, which didn't really use this game, but can be very, very useful. The HE here is pretty powerful. Sometimes there is an extra 1-pointer skill that I want to take, so saving that 1 point from Emergency Repair Expert and still getting those 5 heals in the games where we actually would use it, which typically is where you have 2 million potential damage. If you don't have 2 million potential damage, you probably haven't got to your 5th heal anyway. That's kind of the idea there. AR, of course, going to be amazing on every ship, so that one we can just kind of gloss over. Upgrades-wise, pretty standard stuff here. If you can run an engine boost mod, that's pretty helpful. It's a pretty powerful engine boost, 15%. Maximizing that helps you stay alive. That's a lot of your survivability right there, actually, is just being rather quick to accelerate and just having a little more speed than people are used to. Flanking also is very nice with that as well. Other than that, main gun build, pretty standard. 14-kilometer detect with these guns, though, is pretty strong. 26.4-second reload here is very, very nice. Not Republic nice as far as like 21 seconds or whatever that thing has, but compared to a lot of battleships at higher tier, that base 30-second reload and then getting yourself main battery mod, it's pretty standard reload that you're used to seeing here. Unfortunately, though, with the jump to 12 guns, on top of having a worse reload than Republic, going from 8 to 12 guns also meant a Sigma nerf. So that's going to be why some of your shells don't feel like they're going straight, where even Republic can be trolly with dispersion, but that's more down to only 8 guns. Here with 12, it's trolly because the dispersion can be trolly a lot more, unfortunately. But still, a very strong battleship. I really think a lot of these super battleships, though, aren't like an insane jump over tier 10s. In fact, you notice that I often am just playing the tier 10 battleships. Maybe that's just because I like the tier 10 ones a little bit more. Things like Montana, Ohio, Vermont. Some of my favorites there. So maybe once we see the American super battleship, maybe I'll play that thing a lot more. But who knows? That thing seems to be stuck in development hell, which is unfortunate because I've been excited to try that one out. So maybe next year. Or I guess it is next year already. Is it? Am I putting this out January 1st? If it is, Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. Christmas is over. Happy New Year, guys. I hope your 2024 goes very, very well. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.